Fort Smith, Arkansas. There is a lot of antiquing in this old town. Now a mature city of 90,000 people, Fort Smith originally was the fort that oversaw the Indian Territory before that became the state of Oklahoma. This was the end of the Trail of Tears. A lot of things have changed through the years in Fort Smith, and this antique mall, Through the Years Antique Mall, celebrates that, and we're going to see how when we go inside. Fine pair of cats holding up that table through the window. It looks like there are several rooms here. We're going to start this way. Adjustable music stands like this were something we see a lot in the 1960s and 70s, actually. I have one for sale in Seattle. One thing we expect to see, and right away we do, are pieces of Camark pottery, because this was made in Camden, Arkansas. You can't really see the mark on this one because the glaze is thick, but that's one of their molded pieces from the 30s. They have $16 on it, less $4 discount. That's a pretty good deal. So far, this is looking more like vendor mall, although I see some old comics and some old vinyl, but also CDs, and a lot of just sort of general merchandise. Now, some of these 1990s era pieces are by a woman from Vancouver and have become pretty collectible. They are marked SWAK, S-W-A-K. $14 is not a bad price on these. The prices of these do seem to be rising, but she has one chip on the foot because this is the beginning of lightweight ceramics from China. Star Wars meets Hot Wheels and Trivial Pursuit and puzzles and a lot of other things, because these are mostly more recent pieces. Resales fashion, but I would not say vintage from what I'm seeing. It's not that you might not find deals on vintage and antique things in a place like this, but it doesn't seem to be the emphasis. But then we do see a nice English tiled backsplash server or sideboard with the storage underneath. This is priced at $4.50. I like the green Art Nouveau tile. How much money we are going to raise to pay off our debt and burn our mortgage. Wow, 3 years to raise $50,000 back then. They were serious. There is a handsome old piece of furniture from about 1900 with the applied carving. The carving is done by a machine, but it's nicely done. I like the serpentine top. This is just a little bit different. And again, a nice hutch or sideboard. This is only priced at $3.39. And on top they have a very pretty, also Art Nouveau period, thunder pot. Arundel by F.W. and Company. That has a nice Art Nouveau look. And they are asking $125. Now they have it marked Flow Blue. It does flow a little, but I think that was deliberate by them. I don't think this is a factory second. I think it was being done to have that look. This mirror with the peacocks is something. $65. I could see that selling in Florida. These are fun. We see them time to time by Libby Glass with the galloping horses under the leaves. $35 for the set of 8 is a pretty good price. 2 California casserole dishes from the 1930s on the left. This is a Vernonware line, Modern California. And this one is by La Solana from the 50s. These are probably worth buying because they're the old Baltimore Colts. Before Bob Ursay moved them to Indianapolis in the middle of the night. Back when not everybody had automatic garage door openers, if you bought a Lincoln Continental, you could get the garage door opener as a separate piece. This is right out of the 70s. It has the original manual. I imagine for somebody who's an old Lincoln collector that this could be pretty interesting. But 10% off, I'm going to take that. They have an old car charger here. 1950s Nash hubcap. $8.50 with the discount. And an old Pontiac hubcap as well. Here's something that's old and has some value. The Singer Featherweight sewing machine. It has its case. It has its bobbins. Hopefully the master bobbin is in it. I usually take those out and put them in a locking case. It looks like it's there. That's good. They tend to get lifted. You have to be careful about that. $3.95 on this very complete machine. And they even have the history book about it. And this is cute. It's a little chintz toast rack from England. That's what these are for when you see anything with these dividers like that. They would put slices of toast in between. I see a lot of people in the United States using them as paper dividers and bill sorters. This one is Royal Winton Queen Anne. $58 is about the right price. This space seems to have older things. Nice red decanter, Bohemian glass for only $36. But I think this is not the right stopper because it's not fat enough. Cute ruby decanter here. These pinch glasses have a cranberry stain on them. Notice they're clear on the bottom. $80 on the set. Those are probably early Blanco that was decorated by Rainbow glass before Rainbow was part of Viking. Cute little syrup pitchers with the painting on them by the Gay Fad Company out of Columbus, Ohio. They're priced about right at $15 each. Nice little Luster three-piece set here. Oil, vinegar, and a sauce pot from Japan. Mid-1930s. They're asking $149, but I love the Crown of Texas Siamese TV lamps. They've become very popular and have gone way up in value. And then these two are McCoy Rustic, the ewer, and this strange two-legged vase, priced at $30. Old Curiosity Shop by Royal China. The platter is a piece you don't see as often. That's $27. This is a very popular and very prolific pattern in the 1950s. They also did Colonial Homestead. This is the classic 1960s pencil sharpener. I just went by my old elementary school in California, and they have sold out to a charter school. And I wonder if the old pencil sharpener, it was identical to this, is still in there. $9. That's a pretty good deal. A lot of people like these pencil sharpeners now. This one is the single hole, whereas the 5 and 6 holes sell for a little more. Interesting studio ceramic pitcher here. A Native American vibe. Priced at $30. There's our signature. I think that has potential. Speaking of studio items, this is New Roth. And it has the signature. Pretty piece. Relatively contemporary. Might be 30 years old. They're asking $250. Some other pretty things here. I like these blue candlesticks. Nice shape out of the 1920s or 30s. They might be by Cambridge. It's a little hard to tell. I've seen similar shapes, but I don't see a mark. McCoy vase in blue. Blue Danube and other blue onion related pieces actually do sell. That's the later mark in the rectangle. The earlier mark was in script. 42 on the butter dish is about right. The Fast Stand gravy by a different company, a German company. And this one, Fast Stand, because it is the stand attached to the thing, not separate. That's priced at $23. Just a couple little ewers here. The clear one is $8, and this one is interesting because it came from the ship's store on the USS Alabama. It has the 1960s Pilgrim glass label, and it's $18, which is about right for that. $28 for the pair of Astoria American pattern candle lights. Double candle, not a bad price on those. And they have a whole bunch of Metlocks ivy. This is painted on a flat surface, unlike the Franciscan ivy, which was embossed and on a raised surface. And a cute little child's ironing board with the original turquoise-colored iron from about 1960. Michelle is the owner here, and she said that they have a bunch of dealers moving in and moving around. And it is a combination of older and newer pieces. This is a Hall Lipton teapot. The great thing is it has the infuser. The other great thing is it's only $8.95 right out of the 1930s. These were made by Hall China for Lipton tea to give out as premiums, and having the infuser really makes a difference. They made a lot of these. Oh, this one is for McCormick tea, actually, also done by Hall China. And at $8.95, because it has everything, that is inexpensive enough. I might buy it. They're not uncommon at all, but that's a good price. Lots of utility oil lamps. When you see this pattern in particular, these are 1950s and 60s. They're perfectly nice. They're just very basic and mainly just for something to use when the light goes out. And they have these priced at only $15 a piece, which is fair. When I was in Tijuana with Betty, we saw a whole bunch of these in boxes marked Made in China. They look old, but they are brand new. They're very thin also. And they come in a whole lot of different colors, so don't be fooled. Another little teapot here. This one is Puritan pottery out of New Jersey. Only $6 on that one. All hand painted from the 40s. Another nice sideboard here with the flowers in the back. This is also English. Marble top. Same storage underneath as the other one. Pretty similar anyway. They're just cute. They're useful. I've even seen people put sinks in them and make them part of the house. A nice wide English oak wardrobe here with the mirror in the center. Priced at $3.75. I don't know how old this piece is, but it is made of metal. It is a really cool big metal horse. The painting makes me think that it's late 20th century. It's priced at $6.75. It is cast aluminum. Just really a neat look. This is an interesting 1950s style bowl with an Engel signature. This looks like something similar to Sacha Brastoff or Marc Bellaire from the time. And in fact, it has the Bellaire mark on the back, which adds up. Engel must have been another artist who he had work for him in his studio after he left Sacha Brastoff. Priced at $48. That's pretty interesting. Well, that was a cool piece to find. Let's see what else they have. Sinead O'Connor from 2005. Phone 108. A small town taxi service from back in the 40s or 50s. This is a nice Robinson Ramsbottom large vase here with the floral handles, circa 1940. This looks like tonal, maybe Ken Edwards. Let's see if it's got a chip, darn it. And I don't see a signature or his initials, but it certainly looks similar to the work I see from their studio. And polyglass here. So this dealer has some fun stuff. This is a Mikasa pattern intaglio, and this is a John Bergen design. These were made in Malaysia, so they're a little later, but John Bergen is a designer I think will be worth looking for in the future. Shoes in here of Fenton, priced at $24 with a lot of nice decorating and frit, so that's actually a fair price for that. And this very bright blue from the 1940s or 50s. This one was made as a wall pocket, and it is by Camark, priced at $15. Cute coffee tin with the lid. Summer Girl brand out of Kansas City and Salina, and they're asking $55. It's a fairly obscure brand. Sometimes the more obscure brands do go for big money. This is Hull Continental. When you see the orange with stripes, they're asking $24 for that. This is a neat aviation print from 1952 showing the albatross. A French sea captain thought that if he made something that looked like an albatross, maybe it would fly like one. It didn't work, but it was a good idea. This is priced at $45 and has the artist's signature right there, Charles Hubble. He did a number of these for an outfit in Cleveland that gave them as promotional material. I had the good fortune to go to the Country Music Hall of Fame when Johnny Cash was the featured artist shortly after he passed away. This is an ad he did for Acme boots, which were very popular in the late 70s and early 80s. This is priced at $110. Honestly, if it wasn't for the paper at the bottom of the bottle being a little torn, I'd be tempted to get this at $95. Cute little collage of early 1900s paper and the lovely lady there with her toilet soap. $15. That's kind of sweet. Nice bright blue tonala vase down there for $30. They have several pieces of tonala in this space. It's nice their ephemera is so neatly displayed. They have things from hotels and old ledgers and the Cowboy Hall of Fame. A letter from them. Mainly would be for local interest. Only $5 for this big salad bowl. This is LA Potteries with the mushrooms and the fruit. And this is going to be a late 70s piece. Here's the Los Angeles Potteries mark. Okay, they have little trivets made by a local artist in a manner similar to hook rugs. Some more recent sports cards. Case full of fun little stuff. $15 on the pocket knife from, looks like somewhere in New York, probably around where they made pocket knives, right behind the first tooth there. Any princess phone. Cute little pipe. gum box, a little miniature wedding vase. Fun things depending on what you collect. $175 on the Bud Light over pool table light is not a bad price. I have a Miller currently myself. Perfect for home use or to display a collection is this doctor's office cabinet. It has metal drawers as liners in the top. That's why we know it was from a doctor's office or some similar use. From the 1930s, priced at $495. Wow, here is a really impressive beaded jewelry floral hanging. I think this is more recent because of the size of some of those pieces of jewelry that they use. I think they're using Czech jewelry to make this. Very nice though. Cookie jars, we've got California Originals, the gnome there, and this funky bear. Bugs Bunny, but that's had a hard life. The McCoy dog has too. He's missing his eyes. They were cold painted, so it didn't always stay on there. But I like this one with the mushroom the best. I think this is Japanese. It's very lightweight, similar to Mary Mushroom from the 70s, priced at $25. I had a larger version of this on my wall when I was a little kid with the Model T. That is a Norman Rockwell print. Hiding behind these brass pieces are a couple of Wedgwood Jasperware pieces. $20 on that one is about the right price. Same on this one. This is the teardrop-shaped Fire King. This one has had a really, really tough life with a lot of use, but this is a very pricey piece when it's in good shape. This is a Balinese dowry trunk from the mid-20th century, something that somebody imported over here, I imagine. All handmade, so they look like older styles, but they did continue to make these, and we see these coming here with GIs returning from the war. This one's priced at $395, and maybe this is the guy who brought it back. I like the shape of that frame. It's a World War II portrait, but that frame is actually older. Price is $40 on that. Here's some vinyl too. Pass You, I remember liking that album when it came out. Now this one would be much more valuable if it had the 3D cover, but it is $25 with the picture book. Back to the Future, I haven't seen that out very often. Everybody from Andy Gibb to the Lone Ranger in this collection. Are we ready for this yet? At least she and the bear have all their hair. Let's take a look at some of these half dolls made into brushes. Now, when they have just one arm out, that means they can be molded in one step. The ones that have arms sticking out had to be done in 2 steps and are more money. These are Japanese from the 30s, $21 on that one. And this one is $16 because her chin's damaged. This is nice. This is a true antique from England. I have it tied down in a funny way, so I'll be careful. Hand painted. It's a biscuit barrel. It has the manufacturer's initials, but this is before 1891, so it does not say made in England because we didn't require that until the 1890s. Only $24. Nice little silhouettes here. I like the round, just because it's something a little different. $20 on that. This one with the background is more typical of what people are collecting. Also $20. When you see old Victorian bride's bowls, they will have a wire bail like this, but this needs to fit perfectly. Unfortunately, that means this is a replacement. $55 on this, a more unusual Pyrex pattern you don't see so often. And then here is the JAJ Pyrex from England. I like the flower motif. There is the label on the top of that. A lot of people don't realize that they had that made. 50% off this booth, but the thing that interests me the most is the suitcase. And it is $20 with the discount. Not a bad price. It's a good color of blue. This is a Samsonite from the 1950s. This cake carrier is out of the late 60s. And it seems to be a lot of fun and adventure. I see a diver, surfers, the color definitely late 60s. Someone in a fancy old car. There's skiers. I'm not sure where you're taking a cape to the beach, but if you were, this would be the perfect thing for $30. I've got time to show you one more place. If you'll please take the time to click thumbs up to like this video and let YouTube and everybody else know you're enjoying it. Right on the edge of downtown is this place, Belle Star Antiques, and I picked this one because, well, my niece's name is Star, and she doesn't know it, I don't think, but her mother named her after Belle Star because her mother is, well, an interesting person. This place right away has a lot of antique and vintage. I like the Gardner Salted Nuts. That's a brand I haven't heard of before. Must be regional, $98. Couple of nice prints here. The fox print. And of course, Daybreak by Parrish is very famous. 1970s nightlight for a kid's room. This one's supposed to be an old-time football player. We see them as angels and all sorts of cute stuff. Only $10 on that. We see Desco ware, which is similar to Le Creuset, but from Belgium, in this nice orange color a lot. You don't see the printed maple leaves very often, though. This skillet is $70. Francoma was made not too far from here over the Oklahoma borderline, and this is one of their late editions where they left part of it unglazed, so you see the red clay. Actually, by this time they had a colorant in it, so it's more of a pink clay in the 80s and 90s. I like the fish. They did various lines of this, in fact, entire dinnerware lines. $10 on that. Nice big open booths here, so you can display a lot of things decorative as well as antique and vintage. I really like this red scooter here. 1920s or 30s with the red metal and the wood handle. $89. Spring is just around the corner. In Florida, we're already selling these things. $69 on the bird bath is a good price. I like the big platform glider there. It looks like it could also be hung. This big lamp looks quite old, but it's actually a 1970 era wrought iron lamp because there was interest in 1910s design around that time. Priced at $199. Trust is the name of this lithograph, with the girl putting sugar on top of the dog's nose. I think she's training it to flip it up and eat it. When Santa Fe style became really popular in the 1980s, we started to see a lot of interest in R.C. Gorman prints, and ceramicists started making figures like this one that had that same feel. She's by an artist named Jack Black, and the price is $69. There's the signature 1985 Jack Black, not the one that you know from School of Rock. I don't think it's old, but I do like the snowflake shelf. Clever idea. And they're only asking $29 for it. These wool stadium blankets are going to be a little older, though. This one is $11. This one is $15. Interesting architectural piece here. This looks like part of a newel post. $76. Be interesting to use as a pedestal for a piece of art. And there she is, Belle Star in Technicolor. Randolph Scott. I finally sold my autographed picture of him. I like the old megaphone. A bunch of Blue Heaven. They're asking $175 for this partial set. I've got a ton of this for sale in Seattle right now. Barbie 3 doll trunk. This is from 1974. You can tell by the very long hemlines. Back in the 70s, fashion still was adhering to the notion that when the economy went into recession, you used more fabric, so the hemlines were all the way to the floor that year. This is a Nelson McCoy gazelle planter from about 1940. It will have the N inside of M signature. Cute Shawnee girl planter vase, only $15. And then this is a Weller Woodcraft with the log shape, $48. There is a handsome piece of Black Forest furniture from Germany with all the heavy carving. Looks like something from the 1890s. They have it priced at $775 on sale. They are so showy. I did an appraisal for a fellow who had an entire house full of this, but most people just buy one or two pieces as accents because there's so much going on. You've got the pheasant at the bottom. You have a fox head for the drawer pull. You have these figural griffins flying at the sides, barley twist, and then this elaborate crest. Easter's coming, and I have not seen this bunny with the cart blow mold before. They have $120 on that. I always liked the Shafford Country Club line from the 1960s. It had these wonderful red and white stripes. Yona was the company that was behind these. Yona originally was an American company, and they started having Shafford make things for them in the 1950s and 60s. The old Sears wall clock is only $45. It's not exactly the Sputnik-y design that a lot of people like, but it's very mid-century, and that's a good price. This one's small, but this one's only $36, and it's very mid-century looking. They have some vintage fashion here. I like this cute dress on the end. They say that's 1950s. Times have changed. These early 80s plastic Coke clocks with the quartz movements, they do sell for $65 now, as this one is priced. This is Fire King Jadeite. $22 is about the right price on the vase. They are not marked. This was one of the first pieces they made as an experiment in the line, but it is indeed theirs. Nice big pilgrim glass cranberry vase. $58 on that. That's from the 70s. Hiding under here for $38 is the Treasure Craft Noah's Ark cookie jar. The original paint scheme from the early 70s with the browns and oranges. That's in great shape, and that's actually a pretty good price. People like that jar. Everything made in Japan between 1947 and 52 had to say occupied Japan because they wanted to make sure that Americans would still buy it. There was still resentment after the war. The Japanese resented having to put occupied on it. They do not like this stuff, but there are collectors here for it. And this piece is unusually deco in design, and only $6. Souvenir plate from Missouri. Love that she's in a sleigh, dressed for Christmas, priced at $10. I have not seen this menorah before. It's late 60s or early 70s, with the electric candles, $32. Some fun American bisque cookie jars in these happy yellow colors. This one is $74. The pig is $69, and the truck, unfortunately, has a chip, and that's why it's only $29. Big brass candle holders from the 1970s are definitely popular now. The one on the left is 4 feet tall and is $129, and the one on the right is a little shorter at $99. Also from that era is this Sorrento floral top table with the pie crust head. Only $69. This is really cool. I love the bridge. This has the mark over here, similar to Jurek, priced at $149. This is an interesting memorial piece from the Second World War. Amazing frame with the patriotic detailing, the tinted picture of the sailor, and we know who he is because there is his service card. Otis Brewer. That's pretty neat, and at $89, a pretty good deal. They have $50 on this crane mirror out of the 70s. They are selling. I've sold them for more than that, actually. That might be fun as a backdrop in the kitchen. It is an uncut sheet of biscuit packaging from about 1960, $49. Look how cute the 1950s poodle apron is for $20. And here is the Lane of California Siamese cat TV lamp. It's only $55 because this guy needs new eyes, but you can get those. Pacific Pottery, Portland, Oregon. This became Pacific Stoneware, where Bennett Welsh bought the pottery company, kept the crockery lines going, and then used the stoneware to make all sorts of fun mid-century things like wind chimes and wine carafes and all sorts of cool stuff. Speaking of interesting crockery, this is priced at $350. This would have been to hold pickles in as a store display. So that's why it has this interesting bale with the glass so that you can see the product through it. I always notice these Kokeshi dolls. They say this one is Tsugaru, and that it is signed, which I see on the bottom there. $20 seems like a pretty good price for that. They are becoming more and more collectible. They started coming over after the Second World War as something to bring home to your kids and turned into a collector thing. This is an older Mexican pot from the 1920s or 30s done in Michoacan. I like the hand painting, and it has a lucky clover leaf underneath. Anytime I see decoration in places you wouldn't expect it, to me that says that they take a little extra time with it. It's Patamban and priced at $55. See what is in the next room, but first I wanted to look at this because Leo Ward, of course, worked here in Arkansas. And this one has a little placard on it, which I have not seen before. Bluebird of Happiness. This is a 1990s piece. They are not making these anymore. $25 seems like a good price for that one because it's a little more unusual. And this one is a candle holder sitting next to a couple of Viking Epic pieces. In this booth, they have a nice Van Briggle maiden making corn. Down here is Red Wings Capistrano because there's the swallows. $25 each on those. This is interesting because it is a tilted plate. You don't see this too often. It's to serve bread from about 1950. By the 70s, you start seeing plastic stoppers in very cute little salt and pepper shakers like these. Love the Dayglow color, $12. I have to just say the displays are very good in this place. Even things that are not particularly exciting to me are well presented in a way that makes me want to stop and look. Cute little dress form here. It is on the small side, but expandable, $72. Damn Troll dolls started in the 1950s, became a phenomenon here in the 60s, and continued to be made until about the 1980s, and then they start to be made offshore. But I look for the ones that specifically say damn made in Denmark. This is one of the later ones from 1980. It's only $7.50, and I'll take her. This is a later version, a Tiffany style grape swag glass lamp. Probably 1980s, but it's only $99. Good look for the price. I like the snowshoes, $195 for that set. These nets are actually fun too. Sporting gear is fun to put on a wall in a lodge. These are for fly fishing, $55 each. I like the blue Delphite from the 1930s. They have 12 pieces of cherry blossom for $90. This space has a pretty white glass Italian lamp for under $100. And this interesting piece here, Asian carved in 4 pieces that you can pull out as individual tables or leave the glass on for a single. We see a lot of this kind of furniture that came over, particularly in the Seattle area and on the West Coast. We find these, $175 for the set. $24 on the Groovy Vintage suitcase is a good price. Old deli sign from a place here in the area, 1970s or 80s. This stuff might be worth some real money soon. They're only asking $32 for that chalkboard. That seems like a pretty good price. I like the graphics with the little kids from about 1950. Oh, there's bowling balls, and then there's this one. Lucite with a fake bottle of Budweiser in it. These are really hard to find. They were a novelty in the 70s, and this one is priced at $250. Culver made these Thai dancer glasses. They're only asking $36 for the set of 6. Fans were given out by funeral parlors. This one has the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and would have been sometime shortly after his assassination. It was given out by a funeral home in Louisiana, $5 now. Love the little miniature and spy cameras here. The Empire Baby Wonder camera, $25 with the box. The Scenic Candid camera was something you could conceal. That's $12 with box and instructions. And then the little miniature spy camera is $35. There's a cool piece. This is Steelcraft, competitor of Buddy L. This is from about 1930, and it is the sit-on-top riding train. Very neat piece. $475 is a good price. I still like Carnival glass, especially 1910s era. These pretty birds that are singing are a Northwood pattern. $35 each. Here are a bunch of cute fun animals all painted in the $30 to $50 range. And this one is sold. Still a lot of interest in metal office furniture. We had something similar to this for $50 at an estate sale in Florida that I did about a year ago. There are stories of similar ware being made by rehab homes and missions in California, but in this area, we consider this Ozark pottery, made for tourists driving down Route 66. Very heavy, hand-formed, fairly crude, but really fun colors. This particular one is $75, and these date to about 1935 and 40. Boy, if you had some 1950s furniture to restore, it'd be great to get this set of poles for $45. Tool and various farm stuff in here. I like the old wheels. They're asking $100 each for the cast iron farm wheels. And I like how someone has taken this old feeder and made it into, as they call it, a redneck chandelier. $35. That's actually a really fun look that would be good in, strangely enough, a mid-century home too. Or if you want to do real farmhouse style. This is really cool. 1920s wagon. Looks like somebody got the wheels and then made the base. Yes, kids coaster wagon, $325. That is a really neat primitive toy. Another piece by Camark here in Arkansas, this very cute bird flower frog. Only $25. That seems like a pretty good deal for a collectible flower frog. There are people who only collect flower frogs and arrangers. In fact, it's a good enough deal. I think I'm going to put it up at the counter. Well, this is a nice surprise because usually when you find something that's made in an area, it's more expensive because more of the collectors are there. But these are the kind of things we learn as we go along. And if you'd like to join us for member chat and learn even more, well, check the memberships link under the description of any video under the dashed line, and you can find out all about memberships and what the perks are. Edward Woodard patio furniture with the spun fiberglass here. And this one is $295 for the whole set. You'd want to get some nice cushions, but it looks like it's in great shape. Only $29 on the Hall teapot, the Aladdin in the very nice blue color. If it had the infuser, that would be a no-brainer. $25 on this nice 1970s brass and wood magnifying glass seems like a good deal as well. $4.99 for the low boy. This is a small scale. That would have been out in front of a department store, a grocery store, maybe a pharmacy back around 1940. When they started taking parking meters out of cities and I started buying them, people thought I was nuts because they're big and heavy. Now people realize that they're really cool to use as banks. This one's priced at $115. Back before clowns were scary, they were cute. And here's two cute cookie jars. Shawnee on the left for $50. The one on the right is a McCoy, priced at $35. Has a chip and lost a little paint. Below is the Treasure Craft Saguaro cactus cookie jar. They have $45 on that. That was an 80s classic. Briar models are something that we don't see in the boxes very often. That's a nice thing to have. Scratching fold. This is the 1970s. You can hear it rattling around in there. Priced at $17.50. I often see them priced like that without the box. Even Lefton got in on the decanter craze. This musical decanter is from the 1970s, and it does play Danny Boy. Like a lot of other states, Oklahoma had a set of beverageware you could get by filling up at the gas stations. This particular one has the pitcher as well, with all of the different Native Americans, priced at $185. These actually were available at Knox Oil Company. Neat 1930s hanging glass shade, only $39. And some star photos in 1930s and 40s deco frames. John Bulls, priced at $12. That seems like a good price, except the easel is missing. Single banks lockers are more useful for a lot of people in homes. $95 on this set. These molded spaghetti plastic pieces from the 70s and 80s were for every holiday, including Valentine's. $12 each. A whole wall of cast iron pots and pans and skillets. Some of these are more recent, but I like the Tabasco. And a whole wall of old kitchen utensils. Useful and collectible. I have to admit, as a collector, I like the idea of having anything collectible I can in my house. And if it's kitchenware and I can use it, why not have an old one? I have to do a little restoration on the frame and the print. But this wonderful Victorian child's picture in the frame from the era is only $35. They're very heavy, but these Danish modern tile-top tables from the late 70s and early 80s are starting to be collectible again because it's a great accent to teak. It gives a little more variety. This is also an interesting pattern table back here. And it has a mirror behind that looks like it matches. They are German, very similar to the German radio cabinets in terms of shape and design and color. Got vinyl? Well, it looks like they do. A whole bunch, in fact. L.A. Woman by the Doors jumps out at me because I had that album at one time. Linda Ronstadt, that's a picture disc. That's going to be a little more collectible. Procol Harum is a band of some fame in their time. And one of the most fun album covers ever, Cheap Thrills by Big Brother and the Holding Company, featuring Janis Joplin. White Sox, Pink Lipstick, and Stupid Cupid, Connie Francis in the 1950s. My friend George Gearing, who wrote the music for her for Lipstick on Your Collar, just passed at the age of 96. And I'm happy to see that that song is on here. Before Reuben Glass, around the same time as Della Robbia by Fostoria, was this check glass. Love the polka dots, love the colors. Boris Desclaux, Max Conegesser was the designer. This came out in 1963, about 20 years ahead of Reuben Glass and some of those other companies in Germany that did similar colorations. Someone asked the other day about the market for clocks. Well, these are the type of clocks that are really popular now. Electric, mid-century, that advertise things. This Canada Dry is priced at $175. I love the Bell Star display. Well, Bell Star would be proud. That's a nice antique mall with some cool stuff, and I got some good things. Well, we sure had fun. It's a couple of the antique stores in Fort Smith. We will be back to look at others in the future, I'm sure, because it looks like there's a lot of other places, and I found stuff, and I have a feeling there's a lot more to find here. So we will head on down the road. Bye for now.
If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.